Father Magulis, and welcome, guys, to another interview.
Another.
Oh, fucking hell, man, we're spoiling them. Spoiled, right? Another fucking special interview from the Wolf and the Crows, right? Fucking lashing you out of it with interviews, right? This week, or this time, I have interviewed Ian Beattie, also known as Meryn Trant on Game of Thrones. Belfast own Ian Beattie. He literally lives a fucking not too far away from me at all.
Belfast born and bred.
Belfast born and bred Ian Beattie. There we go. Nice. So I had an awesome time interviewing Ian. Now whenever we made contact with him to interview him and all like this, I said to myself, I'm really looking forward to this because I know he's gonna be nice because I know he's from Belfast.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And Belfast people they're fucking nice people. So I knew it, and I wasn't fucking wrong. Hey, check it out. You'll see yourself. Go on. Father McGullis, and welcome to another Wolf and the Crows exclusive interview special. Who we have today, guys, is none other than Mr. Ian Beattie, Belfast's own Ian Beattie, all right, who of course played Ser Mertn Trant on HBO's Game of Thrones. Nice one, Ian. How are you, man?
I'm doing very well, thanks. How are yourselves keeping on?
Fighting a good fight, man. You know what
Absolutely.
I mean?
It's the only thing for it.
Exactly. So, just going through coronavirus. Yeah, having a reasonably good lockdown, all things considered.
Well, certainly in terms of the work, it has been awful. It has been terrible. Everything is just shut down completely for all of us in the profession at the moment. So that has been a very, very negative aspect to it. Thankfully, my wife is in a different profession. She's doing a lot of her work from home. So we are surviving, but it's been very, very frustrating. I had several jobs lined up, all of which were cancelled. Comic Cons, they've all been cancelled as well, which would, be part of my working experience as well. So it has been very, very difficult. But on the positive side, my gardens never looked better.
I know, man. Like everybody's going to have come out of this with such like DIY, So,
Absolutely, a whole new set of skills.
Right time, and I've said to myself that I'm going to try and learn a new language. Do you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
What I can use Dothraki for, I don't know. But there we are.
Well, you'll be able to speak to Jason Momoa anyway.
Yeah, happy days. So, Ian, we always just start off with the question of how did you find yourself working on Game of Thrones? Just what's your experience of it?
Quite a funny story for you. I auditioned for season 1 of Game of Thrones, and I auditioned for a role, and I didn't get it, and I was furious. I was raging. I was thinking they're putting this actor, they're flying him over from England, they're putting him up on a hotel, and I live 5 minutes away from the studio, for goodness sake. So
what was the role?
I'll tell you in a second. About 4 weeks later, they auditioned me for Ser Mertn, and I got that role. And the role I auditioned for was Jory Cassell, who died in season 1, episode 5. And 5 years later, I'm still in it. So luck was on my side that day. And also, I would have to say, Game of Thrones was extraordinarily well cast. Jamie Seeds, the actor who played Jory Cassell, was superb, was absolutely fantastic in the role. So I had no complaints, whichever way you look at it.
Yeah, exactly. Brilliant. Hey, no, that's great that it worked out for you that way. I mean, it's like, to be perfectly honest with you, I started as an extra in season 4, and then I always wanted a wee line or something in the show, all that type of stuff. But then what ended up happening with me in the whole documentary thing was, I think, ultimately better and stuff,
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's funny how things just work out,
It's funny how they work out, absolutely.
Right. So you've done many standout scenes. What was your favourite scene to film in the show?
In terms of filming a particular scene that I was in, I would have to say I would find it very, very hard to top Tyrion's trial in season 4. Not because I was particularly good in it. Quite the contrary. The first day, I couldn't get my lines right at all. It was a complete disaster. Got it right by the Thursday, thank goodness. But on the Thursday, I mean, we'd spent 4 days filming that scene, and of course, the huge finale to that scene was Tyrion. Peter Dinklage giving that extraordinary speech, and to see Peter do that speech about 8 or 9 different times and do it just incredibly each time with such passion and such venom and such, what a performance. That was definitely one of the highlights. I would have to say that my last 3 days on Game of Thrones, while the scenes for season 5, episode 9 and episode 10, while they were very, very difficult and technically very challenging, as well as emotionally very challenging, obviously culminating with my death, I was looking back extraordinarily proud of those 2 scenes as well. So,
yeah. No, they're brilliant.
Yeah.
That 2 old just
those were a tough couple of scenes. I mean, I won't deny it. They were very, very tough to do. But as I say, looking, and obviously at the end, having to leave the show, which was the toughest moment of my professional career. But looking back, I'm pretty proud of those 2 scenes.
Awesome, brilliant answer, kicking ass. Now, what did you think of Ser Mertn Trant? What did you think of your character?
Oh, very, very early, very, very early in the process. I mean, before I took set foot on stage, on the set. Funny enough, my first day was the sword fight with Cirio Farrell. That was my first ever day filming, and with Maisie Williams. And of course, my last day was with Maisie Williams as well. So that was a nice wee closing of the circle. I did my research on the character. I went online and read about what different people, what different fans thought of the character, what characters within the novels thought of Ser Mertn as well. And I very, very quickly came to the conclusion that he had no redeeming features whatsoever. He was a coward, he was a thug, he was a bully, and as it turned out in the television show, he turned out to be a paedophile as well. So he had no redeeming features whatsoever. So before I even got on set, I developed this idea that to hide his inadequacy and to hide the complete absence of any decent sort of characteristics that he would have to be a member of the King's Guard, that he would disguise this by looking at other people with an arrogant disdain, as if he had just stepped in something disgusting on the ground, and that was the way he would look at people. So that was the expression for the character, and it kind of stuck. The wind blew, the wind changed course, and it stayed like that. And on top of that, because he was from King's Landing, I mean, it was quite they wanted received pronunciation. But again, the tone of voice would be one of arrogant disdain. And when I spoke in the king's defense, he threatened to have me killed. You know, there would be that arrogant disdain, and that was the disguise that he would use to hide his inadequacies. So from the first day, I was pretty much prepped to play the character like that. And David and Dan loved it. Anytime there was a question about what my character would do, all you ever had to do was ask David or Dan. There wasn't anything about every single character, every single plot line, every single thing about the show. They would have an answer for you. So if you were sort of swimming with sharks, as it were, all you had to do was ask David or Dan, and they would keep you right. But they really liked the aspect of the character that I brought to the show, and we stuck with it. We stuck with it.
Awesome. Brilliant, man. That's class, and thanks for doing the wee reenactment. Jesus, Ser Mertn's here. Class. That's fucking awesome. Cheers, man. I see. If I recall, because like I was working down at the Game of Thrones exhibition, and you'd come in a couple of times as well with groups and stuff like that.
That's right.
You had me.
Liam, myself, and Isaac, and Michelle Clapton, the costume designer. We actually opened the exhibition when it came to Belfast, which was an honour and a wonderful, wonderful time was had by all. But yes, there were a couple of further occasions. I brought a couple of friends down, including a kid who I know back here at home. He's pretty much my biggest fan. He's a lovely kid, friend of mine, Jordan, and I brought him down one afternoon. But also there were the parents of different kids that were suffering from cancer, and it was a way to give them, if you like, a wee evening out. And both myself and Ian McElhenney and Michael Condren, who played Bowen Marsh, the three of us went down just to entertain them, and walk them through the exhibition with our own wee personal stories for them. It's nice to be able to get something back.
Big time, man. I just remember you standing in at the very end of the exhibition because your armor's actually there.
That's right, yeah.
So, and you, if I'm not mistaken, the weight of it is
28 kilos. 28 kilos, top to toe. Yeah. By the end of by season 5, it was 28 kilos.
How did you find wearing that Kingsguard armor? I used to work in the costume department, and I have lifted Kingsguard armor, and I have went, that is how heavy this is to move in, and then whenever you're like in places like Dubrovnik, man, walking around and that in Dubrovnik must have been.
Well, every week in Dubrovnik that I wore, that I was filming, I lost half a stone every single week. So if you like, it was great. So we'd keep fit for him. You'd finish filming the season, you'd be about 2 stone lighter, you'd look great. So it was heavy and it was uncomfortable. But the thing about it was, when you put that cloak on, when you put that suit of armor on, it looked fantastic, and it actually helped you play your character. It was your own cloak of armor, as it were, and it was a stunning costume. Heavy and uncomfortable, yes, but these are the prices you pay to look fantastic. And of course, the first time I took the damn thing off, I ended up getting killed anyway. So maybe I should have kept it on.
Was it restrictive?
It was. Oh yeah, it was. I mean, I could not actually put my arm over like this to draw my sword, because the armor would stop your arm before you could reach your sword. So I had to develop this trick whereby I threw the sword out with my left hand, caught it with my right hand, and then pulled it out. So it was. I actually got very good at it now that I think about it. But I think if you'd been fighting in a suit of armor like that, I mean, I still, having worn that suit of armor, I remember the flashback with Ned Stark and Sir Arthur Dane, and that fight sequence where Sir Arthur draws both the swords and starts fighting everybody with the swords. And I just still, to this day, do not know how he did that fight scene. That was extraordinary, because I know what that suit of armor was like, and I know what it was like to wield swords with it, and that was an extraordinary piece of film. Extraordinary. To this day, it just blows me away completely.
No, it's brilliant. It's like so well choreographed and like stunning fight. Yeah.
Probably the best individual fight I've seen on Game of Thrones. That one fight. Even more than the Viper and the Mountain, even more than the Hound and the Mountain. That one fight sequence was probably the best fight I've seen on Game of Thrones.
Awesome, I love it too. Tyra Joy, man, it's brilliant. You should see it done. Somebody superimposed lightsabers onto the blades.
Yeah, yeah. I think somebody did that with me and Sirio Farrell, as far as I know.
Yes, we'll have to look that up. And who was your favourite? You've already mentioned Peter Dinklage there, but who was your favourite actor to work with?
Lena. Every day, twice on Sundays, and 10 times in a leap year. Lena was just stunning. I probably worked with Lena more than with any other actor, because I was her man. I was her Kingsguard, and she was so unlike her character. She's so funny. She's so warm. She's gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous girl, and I just absolutely adored my time working with Lena. And we had great laughs. on set and
Yeah.
off. So yeah, no, Lena was probably my favorite.
Brilliant. I had never. There's a few characters. I think it's because I was geographically set in the north. Both that me and Bobby there. He's Night's Watch and I was in House Stark. So we never were around Lena, and it was.
Yeah.
I saw her in the studio one day, and I couldn't believe her out of costume.
Yeah. Oh, she's just
She
stunning.
is.
Stunning. And what a role model. What an incredible role model in today's world. You know, she's just a wonderful role model for women. She's a wonderful role model for people. She's a wonderful mother and just gorgeous. Gorgeous.
Brilliant. Apart from a scene that you were in, what's your favourite scene and who's your favourite character in Game of Thrones?
My favorite character in Game of Thrones was Cersei, simply because, you know, I think your favorite character should be somebody you cannot wait to see them on screen again. Whether you love them, whether you hate them, you can't wait to see them on screen again. So it was definitely Cersei. The best scene I ever saw in Game of Thrones was Hold the Door. Absolutely wonderful. Genius storytelling, and absolutely broke my heart. Completely broke my heart. I thought Hold the Door was just a stunning piece of television. And every time I see it, I still cry. I mean, I really do. It still gets me every single time I see it. Everything about that scene, the choreography of the scene, the acting performances of Big Christian, you know, just unbelievably heartbreaking. And also the young Sam Coleman, who played the young Hodor, Wills, another stunning piece of storytelling. The music from Ramen during that scene, heartbreaking. It was a perfect TV scene. It really was the perfect television scene, and to this day, it's my favorite moment on Game of Thrones.
Yeah, I actually have to agree with you. It was the one that, because then it just cuts to black and that's the end of the episode, and I just had to sit there.
Yeah.
Just
blown away.
It's the fact that Hodor means hold the door. That's, you're just going, wow, that was that.
Yeah.
And I've been reading the book since I was 13, and I'm going, holy shit, that's mental.
Yeah.
So
no, just genius storytelling from George and from David and Dan, and managing to visualize that whole storyline and that story arc of Hodor, that you wait 6 years and that's the payoff. And man, what a payoff. Heartbreaking, absolutely heartbreaking, and just genius storytelling.
Top class. Wow. Love that answer. That's great. What was the most memorable thing about working on Thrones for you? Was it
too many? Honestly, seriously, too many memories. I mean, we knew season 1 we had a good show, but nobody dreamed it was going to go the way it went. Nobody dreamed that it was going to be the biggest television show ever. And as the seasons went on, you know, we were getting word back on the DVD sales, and we were thinking, this is going somewhere. And then by season 4, it had just gone crazy. So by season 5, which was my final season, I mean, it was by far the biggest television show in the world. Everybody was talking about it. And, you know, the impact it had on me and on my career was, you know, it was life-changing. It was life-changing every which way. So for me, there isn't, if you like, a favorite moment. There's too many of them. There were just too many of them. I mean, every so often an actor will have a bad day on set. It just happens. I didn't have a bad second on set when I was working on Game of Thrones. And as I say, by season 4, you knew how big the show was. You knew what a phenomenon it had become. I suppose, you know, I still look back and think that the death scene was pretty good. It's still the most expensive single death scene ever filmed on Game of Thrones, which is a lovely honor to take away from the show. So I suppose, looking back, I am pretty proud of that scene and the scene before it as well. And also, of course, all the wee girls that were working on the scenes as well. A Freak in episode 9, she was wonderful as a wee girl that I call and take out of the main part of the brothel. And then in episode 10, the 3 wee lassies that I'm beating pretending to be. Believe me, I never actually touched any of them. They were Hattie, Isabella, and Bella, and I remember them to this day. I've got a lovely photograph with me and the three of them. After the filming was complete, their parents were there at all times. It was a very, very safe, very protected set. I didn't stay in character. As soon as he yelled cut, I was out of character straight away. I was good old Uncle Ian again. So I suppose that scene is one I'll take with me, but I have so many memories from my days on Thrones, and not one of them. There's not a bad one on any of them. The actors I worked with, the actors that I became friends with, you know, people like Jonathan Pryce, Charles Dance, Peter Dinklage, you know, it's just, I don't care what jobs I'm going to get in the future. Nothing will ever be like Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
It was 1 in a million. It was a 1 in a million gig, and all of my memories are wonderful from it. All of them.
Yeah. Just concerning your death thing, like you know, in this day and age, there's a lot of violence and TV and movies, and like, you know, you'd think you'd become desensitized, but anybody who'd watched that, you know,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm all, oh, yeah, you know what I mean? You get the knife in the face.
Yeah. Yeah,
I mean,
getting both my eyes stabbed out was pretty funny. And it was funny because after both of the eyes went out, I mean, the first one went out at 8 o'clock in the morning, and I got a prosthetic over that eye. And then the second one went out about 9, and I got a prosthetic over that eye. And that was me completely blind until we finished the filming that night at about 9:30 that night. I was completely blind all day. We didn't have time to take the prosthetics off because we were just, you know, really, really pushed for time. So I spent the day blind, basically, which was an interesting day, a very interesting day, very challenging.
Yeah. Just out of curiosity, was this Paint Hall or Banbridge?
Banbridge.
Did you shot that?
Banbridge.
Banbridge.
I was shot in Banbridge, yeah. So
awesome. The people that we usually interview, man, are usually from different countries and stuff like this. So we always ask them what do they feel, what they love about Belfast and stuff like this. But we're you know, we really want to ask you too, because you are a Belfast native. You know, what you love about
it's my home. It's my home. I think the thing I love the most are the people. Most of the people. There's always a couple of lachicos out there you could live without, but most of the people here, you know, we've been through a lot. We've got out the other side of it, and when you take most of the people, especially take them out of the political context, they're the warmest people in the world. And I think tourists find that when they come to this country, you know, they do love being here. They love the welcome they get. It's a very warm welcome. So I would say the people are the thing that I would highlight the most about Belfast. Also, as I say, you know, things have happened here in the last lot of years. It's a different city now, and it's gorgeous to see it. I mean, you and I probably both lived through the worst of what Belfast had to offer. Now we're getting the best, and that's good news.
Exactly. Well, I'm originally a Derry man, you see, and I moved up to Belfast to get myself on Game of Thrones, and I've fallen in love with the place. This is my home now, you know.
Yeah.
So I agree with you. It's the people, definitely.
And Derry too. I mean, Derry too. Not just Belfast. I would just say the whole of Northern Ireland. It's the people.
Yeah.
You know, Derry has exactly the same. Derry's very, in many ways, extremely like Belfast. Very, very like Belfast. And the people are as well. So that's what I would highlight. I'd say the people are second to none when they're at their best.
Brilliant. And then just to finish up, what's next for you, man? We know the coronavirus is on, but what's next for you if you can talk about it?
Well, funny, you'll probably see me in a couple of episodes of Gangs of London. I did Gangs of London last year, and I had the absolute pleasure and privilege of working with Michelle Fairley for the first time, because Michelle and I never met on set in Game of Thrones.
Yeah,
we never worked with each other, so it was absolutely wonderful to tick her off my list, as it were, and work with her. She was absolutely incredible, wonderful girl. And I also got the privilege of working with Frances Tumulty too, another person who had never worked with before, and she was just gorgeous too. She was just wonderful. I was sitting there that day between Michelle and Frances, and I was dribbling. I was starstruck. It was embarrassing. It was embarrassing.
Awesome.
There's also something hopefully coming up in August. There's a 4-part series that I've been offered. I can't really say much about it at the minute. Hopefully I'll let you know in future times whenever we get it in the can. Hopefully it will go ahead in August. We'll have to wait and see. It's scheduled to go ahead to shoot in the Netherlands in August. So I'm keeping my fingers and toes crossed that it does in fact go ahead at that time, because by that stage I really need to get out of this house and start earning some money again. But I'll let you know closer to the time, or after it's filmed. I'll be able to speak hopefully a wee bit more about it. It's a bit under wraps at the moment. Can't say too much about it, but it will get here. There's no doubt about it whenever it gets made. It's a 4-part series set in the 80s between the Netherlands and Ireland, and it'll definitely be shown here at some point.
Awesome. What about theatre, man? Have you got any plans?
I don't do theatre. I don't do theatre much anymore. Several reasons. One, it would probably cost me more to do theatre than I would make from theatre. And two, it's just I've always preferred film and television. It's my forte. I believe it is anyway. I'm not bad on stage, don't get me wrong. But I've seen other actors that just blow me away, and I'm not in their league at all. So I'm more than happy to stay on film and television.
I remember seeing you a few years ago now in the Lyric in Demented.
Demented.
Yeah. And I loved that, man. I thought you were great on that.
It was a good play, but it did drive me demented, that play. And
right, okay.
I'll tell you why privately. I'd rather not say publicly, but next time I see it privately, I'll tell you why that play drove me round the bend.
Right. Okay. I can imagine, man, the theatre scene in Belfast. Right. Awesome. Ian, that's fantastic, man. You gave us such fantastic answers there, and perfect time. That's lovely. Thank you very much for coming on.
Super job, man. Absolutely delighted. And I'd like to say once again, hello and thank you to all the fans of Game of Thrones. It's a gift as far as I'm concerned. It keeps on giving. I loved every second of it, and I'm as big a fan of the show as you are. I promise you, Zan.
Yeah, big time, man. Awesome. I usually we ask people, are you a fan of Game of Thrones? I already knew you were.
Yeah.
And that's why we didn't ask, because I already knew you were.
Like best TV
from
show.
The way you were walking around the fucking too, right? Big time. Ian, thank you so much, guys. If you love this interview, which you fucking did, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Ring that bell, and fucking we'll see you next time. Ian, thank you very much. And guys, the North remembers. See you next time.
Remembers.
Yeah. Awesome. Did you see that? Did you see when I turned on the Meryn Trant? Did you see that?
Yeah, the voice.
Aye, did you see when I done the... I was like, ooh, that was fucking good there, boy. That was good.
Great interview again by yourself.
Yeah. Thanks. No bother. Just... And as I was totally right, salt of the earth, Belfast man, who regards Game of Thrones is the benchmark in his career so far. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So and his scenes were fucking awesome in the show. So I highly enjoyed he was perfect, absolutely perfect.
Great character.
With a character, so fantastic, and it's really great to see a local doing so well from the show, so, and really bringing a character to life perfectly on screen for what Meryn Trant needed to be. It was great, fantastic. Yeah. So yeah. Hey. Hey, hold on there, wee minute.
What?
The music's there. Hey, don't you forget to like, share, and subscribe to this video, right? Because I know, right, sometimes you're all, oh, that was a good interview. I must go now and have me dinner. Hold on a minute, big balls. like, share, and subscribe to the video. Right, ring that bell, because whenever you ring the bell, right, you'll be all like ding ding, and you'll be all, what's that? Oh, the Wolf and the Crews are up to some madness, and then you'll be able to watch it, right? And not only that, but there is a join button there, right? See if you hit that join button. That join button there accesses you to a plethora of Wolf and Crews goodness, right?
All sorts of goodies
Yeah,
in there.
a plethora of Wolf and Crews goodness that you can snack on till your heart's content, boys. Right?
Yep.
You know you fucking love it, like you know you love it, like. Don't sit there and tell me, it's all right. You love it, man. Right? So, no problem. You're welcome. And guys, thank you very much for joining us. Awesome.
And don't forget the Patreon as well for all the extended, uncut MP3s, bloopers, all the stuff. You can head over to the Patreon page. There's a wee icon up here somewhere. You can click on that, and that'll take you over to the Patreon to check out the goodies on that as well.
Sweet. Hey, fuck me. Hey, some stuff on that Patreon, boy. I'm fucking telling you now. Get on it. Nice one. Hey, get on it like a motherfucking carb on it. Nice one. Now, great interview. We're going to be coming at you with more. And I guess, Bobby, there's only one thing left to do. And that there is to sign out of the video.
Sign out for the watch.
Hi, the North fucking remembers!